As we have seen thousands and thousands of people moving to the north of Gaza, could we say that the situation is worse there at this moment or no?
It's really, really shocking. People have a natural desire to want to go back to their home communities, and we saw this during the previous ceasefire. And let's not forget that people were forcibly displaced from their homes by the war and by Israeli military orders. They didn't leave voluntarily. And people are now returning because they're trying to find the rubble of their homes. Tragically, it also involves going back to look for the dead bodies of family members under the rubble.
How are you following this kind of local violence after this first part of the ceasefire?
There has been a total breakdown of law and order in the Gaza Strip throughout this war. We've seen levels of desperation, we've seen looting incidents, violence, gangs, all of these kind of things, because of the anarchic nature of the situation. So at the same time, the point about a ceasefire is that firing has to cease. The guns have to fall silent, whoever the guns belong to. We are, of course, aware and we observe with concern what is happening on the ground in terms of violence within the Palestinian community. But, also a number of incidents involving Israeli forces. The point is what we have moved from to the situation now. I don't want to call it better because that's not the right word, but we are in a situation, there is going to inevitably be problematic situations, but the environment has improved markedly over the recent week. That's not to say that anything that happens like this is anyway acceptable. It remains absolutely unacceptable and it must stop.
As we are following so many people coming back home without home after losing everything, is there any kind of project from UN and other organizations to build temporary homes, more structured humanitarian camps, any kind of plan to settle these people with temporary homes? Is there any project like this?
People have had no places really, no buildings to shelter in because of the level of destruction. They've had to build temporary structures, and aid agencies have supplied tents. That's a priority to get those kind of materials in fast because people need shelter. I mean, the next step is to try to build more solid shelters, and that does require construction materials to come in. But another essential thing, of course, is to clear the rubble, so that it's possible to actually start building something temporary. And clearing the rubble is extremely dangerous because of the amount of unexploded ordnance, so bombs and other munitions in the rubble. And tragically also, the rubble is full of dead bodies. So, in terms of human dignity, it's not just a question of getting the bulldozers in to clear rubble. This has to be done in a way which respects the dead.
We are here in Brazil, Jonathan, just for you to imagine, the Brazilian press, we are covering everything since the beginning, suffering with the civilians, with the innocents in this conflict. And the feeling we have now here is that even being a very fragile, let's say, ceasefire, we see hope in a way we didn't have seen before. I would like to know if you feel the same over there, and for you, how hopeful you are at this moment, and what would be the solutions to a long-term peace moment?
This is an important point. I mean, if we didn't have hope, we would struggle to function as humanitarians. I think there's a strong sense of relief. And in fact, we have 12,000 colleagues on the ground. So we are the largest United Nations humanitarian agency in Gaza. Those are all Palestinian colleagues, and so they have suffered along with the rest of the community. And I want to emphasize that more than 370 of our colleagues were killed in this war. And there's no precedent for that in the history of the United Nations, for so many UN team members being killed in a single war. So that in itself is shocking. But so for us, we've been mourning our colleagues throughout this war. The ceasefire gives us more time for reflection on that side, to remember their memory and to renew our commitment to our work in their memory. The colleagues on the ground repeatedly say, anything is better than what we had before. Now, that is, of course, a sign of what they have been through, because you know, a slight improvement in the situation is better than what came before. The thing now is the momentum must continue. The ceasefire must be sustained. We have to move towards peace. We have to move towards reconstruction. We have to move towards respect for the dignity, for the memory, for accountability for what the crimes that have been committed in the Gaza Strip, and to rebuild the society, and to do it in a way which is dignified and respects the rights of the population.